Hello, everyone, and welcome to a new episode of Who Dey Lounge. I'm your host, Cincy to France, and I'm here with a special guest, Stilly. Say what's up to everybody.
Hey, what's up? How's it going?
How you doing?
Doing great. Doing great.
Awesome. So today, on today's episode of Lunch with Stilly, we're going to talk about controversial subjects, Chase versus Sewell, and what you're looking for in the draft as far as the Bengals selections are concerned. So I guess the first question I have for you is Chase or Sewell? Team Chase or Team Sewell?
Yeah, and Glenn, I've thought a lot about this. As a Bengals fan, but also someone who follows the NFL. I guess pretty religiously, whether like to admit it or not. But I have been in both camps. So I set up camp in Chase, Team Chase. Planted my flag there firmly, no looking back. And then, I start thinking or start reading, and then, I'll pack up my tent and I'll float over to Team Sewell and I'll plant the flag there. And I've spent time in both camps, and as I think about it, both camps have a lot of appeal. So where my mind goes is there's no wrong pick there. It's if you're a Bengals fan, the biggest thing is what are the implications for the rest of the draft, right? So if it's me, and I was making that pick, if I'm Duke Tobin and company, I submit my card with Penei Sewell on the card.
Penei Sewell. Okay, Team Sewell. I think pretty much everybody's gone back and forth on this. And you know me, I've been hollering, I've been screaming about the offensive line for like 5 years now. And now that we're here, just 4 days away from the draft, like you said, I've been going back and forth as well. And I think I can plant my flag firmly in team trade back.
Okay.
I am of the mind that we could get an elite offensive guard, Vera Tucker, a little bit later. Hell, Sewell might even fall to us if we don't go back too far. But if, let's say we miss out on Chase, we miss out on Sewell, if we can get Vera Tucker, and then we can get a wide receiver, De'Ami Brown from North Carolina in the second round, something like that, and then just see what happens after that. I'm pretty entrenched on Ben Cleveland in the third round, if he's available in the third round. Even if he is there, I'm not sure the Bengals will select him. I would love to see the Bengals trade back a little bit, pick up some more draft picks, because some of my favorite players are in the third round. However, if it's a choice between Chase or Sewell, right now, this second, it'll change in 2 seconds. But this second, I will have to say, I'm going to say Team Chase, just because it's kind of like that's who we're going to take. So now that we kind of have a good feeling that that's who we're going to take, then I'm kind of like going Team Chase, and I've already started talking myself into it. Mental gymnastics, because we love the Bengals, so we're going to love whoever they pick.
For sure. And a couple things on that. So, say what you will about draft gurus and whatnot. At the end of the day, nobody knows, right? So, but with that said, one thing I'm reading.
I know.
Well, aside from Cincy to France, Glenn Adams, the expert on the matter. One thing I read is that Cincy, if you'll believe insiders or whatever what have you, is that right now it's Sewell, Pitts, Chase. So that was kind of odd to me. I'm with you on.
Why was it odd? Why was it odd to you?
For me, I felt that Pitts really wasn't in the mix. I thought there was a small chance, but to me, it came down to Sewell and Chase. The trade back scenario. So what I think about there is that what teams are going to trade down to the Bengals. So most likely for a quarterback, right?
Right.
So you think about teams like Denver, maybe the Patriots, although they're not one to really trade up in the draft. I've read that they might even trade back in the draft. The biggest team that sticks out to me, maybe Washington, somebody that can learn behind Fitzpatrick. But let's say the Broncos trade up to 5 to get Trey Lance, Justin Fields, the best of the rest, and Matt, who knows what San Francisco is going to do. So let's say the Bengals do go back to 9 where the Broncos are picking. That does leave maybe Chase, although the Panthers could take Sewell. That's been rumored. Rashawn Slater could be there. I'm like you. If the Bengals traded back to 9, I would be ecstatic to be able to take one of those elite tackles, one of the guards, like a Vera Tucker, and then leave some options open in round 2 and round 3. But here's my question for you. You have gone on record saying that this is a deep defensive line class, and maybe not so much on the offensive line. So let's say the Bengals get to round 2 and a guy like Azeez Ojulari out of Georgia, if I'm pronouncing his name right, like a Basham, a Perkins, one of those guys. What if they're there? You know, the Bengals, they need some depth on the edge. What do? Do you look at that, or are you going to wait till later rounds to get your defensive line?
I'm waiting. There's not a defensive lineman who I'm just totally in love with at 38. Even Basham. I like Basham. I like him a lot. But when I think about, we have to go offensive lineman, receiver, offensive lineman, in my opinion. Now, does that mean that's what the Bengals are going to do? No, they probably might be looking at one of the defensive ends. But I just think I must be the only person in the world who loves this defensive line group. And so when I look at what's his name out of Pitt, Patrick the third.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah,
Jones,
Patrick Jones the third. His teammates, that whole Pitt defensive line. So Weaver, Jones the third, and the defensive tackle Twyman. Mm-hmm. I love all of them, and they might be there in the 4th and 5th rounds. And I like them. I like their potential more than I like a Basham, more than I like the guys out of Georgia. I love those guys. So when I think about defensive line, I am 4th, 5th round. Now that's not to say that's what I think the Bengals are going to do, but that's what I would do if I were the GM. I'm stuck on Ben Cleveland in the 3rd round, maybe even the 2nd, depending on how they see them. Yeah, you like those defensive ends early.
That's a question that I keep wondering about in my head, is that will the Bengals be bold enough to do that? It is a deep wide receiver class, in my opinion. But I shared this with you the other day. I think the ideal scenario would be two offensive linemen and a wide receiver in the first 3 rounds, personally. Yeah. So that's where I would go if I were the Bengals front office. You've got to solidify that line, and you have to have a pass catcher, a game-changing pass catcher that can stretch the field.
Those offensive linemen, have you had a chance to look at them a little bit?
Yeah, I've looked at some. Creed Humphrey stands out to me. Big, strong guy. I think he can really solidify that line. Ben Cleveland's another guy. Quinn Miners had a really, really strong pro day. A lot of good intangibles. He's a guy that may not be there at 3, though, if the Bengals pick there, or if they target offensive line there. Another guy is the guard out of Illinois. I know there's been a lot of hype about him.
Yeah, Green,
yeah. Potentially, I don't think he's a guy you'd want to grab in the 3rd round, but and I haven't watched a ton of tape on him, but from what I did see, he seems to play with a lot of energy. Might be somebody that can sort of be a guy that can, have some leadership and maybe a glue on that line at some point. So those are some of the names that stuck out.
Bengals are going to love him just because he can play center and guard, and he can play both right now. There's no the Bengals will love him. They will love him more than I do. I like him. I know he had a great great measurables. Really athletic, really strong. I thought he was okay on tape. He didn't jump out at me, but he was really good. And I would not be mad if they were to draft him in the 4th round, because that's where, if they were to draft him in the 3rd round, I'd be disappointed. But if he were there in the 3rd round, or in the 4th round, sorry, and they were to draft him, I could see that. And just his ability to come in and play center and guard right now. So with Trey Hopkins being out and we don't know when he's going to come back, I don't want Billy Price at center. Never did. He would be the type. He would be the now I'm talking myself into him. He would be the perfect type of player that the Bengals would love to come in and play center right away and play guard if need be. So yeah, that's good. Creed Humphrey, I like, and Landon Dickerson, I like. It depends on his medical, but I only see them as pure centers. Like, I know we talked about this. You thought Creed Humphrey, or you thought one of them could play guard as well.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I see them both as pure centers. Like, I don't think they have the ability to attack the second level. They're not athletic enough to get to the second level and deal with linebackers and safeties and whatnot that you would want your guards to be able to do. But at center, yeah, point of attack, I think they're really strong. They're really smart. They're really intelligent. They know how to use their angles really well. But as guards, I have a hard time seeing that. What did you see?
Yeah, and that's the biggest question mark, like you brought up, is what's Trey Hopkins' status going to be, as we approach training camp and then as the season starts. You need a guy that can fill in, and I'm with you. I think Billy Price did an okay job when he had to fill in backup roles at guard, but maybe not at center. So yeah, I think you're right.
Everywhere.
What's that?
He was awful everywhere.
Well, he had one good game. Gets tight.
Really? Yeah. I missed that one.
Maybe that's subjective, but yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, those guys, if you could target them in the first 3 or 4 rounds, that's gonna open up a lot of opportunities. 4 or 5 through 7, where you could start looking at other positions of need, probably mostly on defense, I guess. So the other question that's been lingering in my mind is, do they target a linebacker? They are, historically a team that targets linebackers in drafts, sometimes maybe earlier than they should. But there's a couple linebackers that stood out to me that maybe they could target later on in the draft. What are your thoughts?
I had one who stuck out. Well, I actually had 3, because when I was looking at PFF's big board, they had 3 linebackers I wanted, but 2 of them went back to school. So now I'm stuck with one. I think his name is McDuffie from Boston College. Love him. Now he might be a 7th round pick, but I absolutely love him for the Bengals, especially in the 7th round. Anytime before that, yeah, I don't think we're going to go linebacker in the 1st round. And if we're not going to go linebacker in the 1st round, those in between guys, I don't see it. What do you like?
Well, what if somebody like Jamin Davis out of Kentucky falls to the 5th round, which probably won't happen. But if he does, I think you have to take a strong look there. There's a guy from South Carolina that if he falls maybe to the 6th round, I really like, Ernest Jones.
Yeah.
I like his tape. I don't know if you've gotten a chance to look at him or not, but he seems to be pretty solid in terms of the run game, but also looks pretty good in pass coverage too. So he might be somebody the Bengals could look at in round 6.
Well, I'm not even going to attempt the linebacker's name out of Notre Dame. Number 6.
Wosu Koromaro, whatever.
Yeah.
1st round, 2nd round, great. Yeah.
No, I love him, but he's going to be picked way before the Bengals in the 2nd round. But I absolutely love him. I love the linebacker out of Penn State.
Parsons.
Yeah, I don't see us picking him with the 5th overall pick, and he'll be long gone. But the linebacker out of Tulsa,
Collins.
Yeah, Collins. I like him a lot. If he were there in the 2nd round, now there's some talk that he might be there in the 2nd round. If he were to be there in the 2nd round, that'd be a tough call for me.
Yeah,
because I love Logan Wilson. I called that pick, by the way, last year. I love that pick last year for the Bengals. I didn't like the Akeem Davis Gaither pick. I wasn't a fan. So hopefully he'll change my mind this year. I don't see us really addressing that. Do you think it's a need for us?
I don't think it's a need. I just think that in my mind, it's a position that they like to target in drafts. So I think it's a possibility.
What do you think of the linebacker play from last year? The rookie.
I really like Logan Wilson. Jermaine Pratt.
Yeah.
You know, I think he has potential. I think I think they expected more in the beginning from what I've seen and what my eyeballs have told me. But
I think they were using Jermaine Pratt wrong at the beginning of the year. Well, pretty much the whole year, because when he came out of NC State, I saw him more as a run stopper and a blitzer, and the Bengals were trying to use him in coverage because I thought he converted from safety, so they must have thought, hey, he can cover running backs, and it's not something that we really saw on the film in college. And so when he got to the pros, when he got to Cincinnati, like if they were to use him as a run stopper or a blitzer, something like that, I think he'd be more suited for the defense. But I could be wrong. You know, I'm not a coach or anything. I don't think they were putting him in a position to succeed. Actually.
Yeah.
I think we need to know if he can play.
Yeah.
I guess they feel good about him.
Yeah, in this year's draft too. I mean, again, linebacker might not be an area of need, but the one guy I kind of hope that they prioritize on the defensive side of the ball is Milton Williams.
Everybody loves him.
Yeah, I know, and he might not be there at 4, where I think the Bengals could get him. So, but I think he's somebody that could learn behind, you know, Mike Daniels, somebody that can maybe step in where they lost Geno Atkins at some point. So, you know, he's somebody I think could be an ad there in the 4th round.
So you would have him going in the 4th round. See, I keep going back to that Pitt defensive line. I love Twyman, defensive tackle.
Yep.
Yeah, Geno Atkins' number and everything. And I mean, I'm not sure why people aren't as high on him as they are on Milton Williams. I know I can see what people see in Williams, but I'm just more of a Twyman guy. But nobody ever talks about Twyman for the Bengals.
I think maybe some of the buzz on Milton Williams is that at his pro day, they kind of had some comps to Aaron Donald, some of his intangibles and whatnot. Nobody's Aaron Donald, obviously, but you know, if he's
what's
that, you never right, yeah. But even if he's shows some of the same characteristics, that's a little bit attractive. So we shall see.
You give me two of the 3 defensive linemen out of Pitt in the 4th and 5th round, I would love that.
Yeah,
absolutely love that. Who are the defensive ends that you would target in the 2nd round?
Well, if Ronnie Perkins is there, that's the Aziz Ojulari out of Georgia. I really like him. Of course, I watched him the Peach Bowl against the Bearcats, and he was a disruptor, of course. But Carlos Basham Jr. maybe. I doubt a guy like Kwity Paye is going to fall back that far, but he's somebody that would be a little tempting as well.
See, I like those. I think the defensive end. I think when people talk about a draft being deep, I think they look at the 1st round only, because if you just look at the 1st round defensive ends, then yeah, it's not a deep class. But if you look throughout the draft, which is what I thought being a deep class was, then yeah, I love the defensive end position this year.
Yeah, and a good example of that is Gregory Rousseau out of Miami.
Right.
He didn't play this past year. He opted out, and then Jalen Phillips came in and basically took his spot. Now he's a 1st round grade. So could be some value there. With Rousseau if he's there. But
yeah, I do love Rousseau. Like if he were there in the 2nd round, yeah, again, that would be very tempting. Like I wouldn't be mad at the Bengals taking Rousseau at that point if he's there. Yeah, I would. Out of all of the guys you named, Rousseau would be my pick.
Yeah.
And if it's not him, then I would want them to go receiver or offensive line or something like that. Who you got in the 3rd round? Because you haven't talked about that.
Yes, 3rd round. I'm with you. If Cleveland is there, Creed Humphrey, who I doubt will be there. If Cleveland's there, pull the trigger. Absolutely. I mean, if you can if they draft Penei Sewell in the 1st, Cleveland in the 3rd, done deal. You've added Riley Reif. Instantly you're going to have a solid offensive line. That's what I would do.
What's one of my favorite DBs in the draft? Odebo out of Stanford. Love him. I think somebody tweeted out, I forget who it was, a picture of who has the most potential in this draft, but is receiving no hype.
Mhm.
And Paul Odebo was my answer. Like I
Yeah.
love him now. I would love to get him in the third round. I hate when I love players, when I fall in love with players, when I think they're going to be good, but I just don't think the Bengals will draft them for just because of need, basically. What do you think of that Ohio State offensive line?
So you're talking about Wyatt Davis.
The center, Cooper. Yeah.
Cooper's their tackle,
No,
defensive tackle.
he's
Defensive
a
end. He's a red edge rusher, right?
Oh yeah, that. What's the center's name?
Yeah, you stumped me. I don't know. And honestly, I haven't watched a ton of tape on those guys, so I don't know. I know that Davis has gotten some buzz, but the more I've kind of followed the mocks, it seems like he's fallen a little bit. I'm not sure why, but
Yeah. All right. So I might do one of these videos with a friend. I gotta remember the center's name. But yeah, man. Woo! I swear to you, Adam, if the Bengals draft one of those Ohio State offensive linemen, I'm gonna throw the TV out the window. I promise.
There's a reason why Justin Fields is good on his feet, huh?
Yeah. Oh my God. Like so I went back and I hate watched. That's what I've been doing with a lot of these offensive linemen. Hate watching. So I hate watched Ohio State, Indiana, that whole damn game, and you just see play after play. Like at one point, with the center and Wyatt Davis, it's like, do you not see the people in front of you? Like they're coming to kill your quarterback. Y'all don't even see them. Like I don't. Yeah, it was bad, man. And it was just the Indiana game that I watched. And I had to cut that off. I was like, man, there's no way. They won that game. But I was like, there's no way. Like, they are bad. Like, and then when you see, like, people talking about Wyatt Davis in the third round to the Bengals, I'm like, stop. And then what do you think about the Notre Dame offensive lineman?
So Eichenberg's there, and then Aaron Banks, I think, is the guard.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've gotten some hype, but I think Banks has even fallen a little bit in some mocks as well. So Eichenberg is a guy that I think there could be a team desperate enough to grab him late in the first, maybe the second. Jalen Mayfield's another guy like that out of Michigan. So yeah, I mean. Yeah, go.
I like him better than I like Eichenberg.
Mayfield?
Yeah. Now I'm gonna get killed for that, but I like him a lot more than I like Eichenberg.
There's two guys. There's two tackles that have really started rising up these boards. One of them is Stone Forsythe out of Florida, and another guy is Spencer Brown out of Northern Iowa. And I'm like, where do these guys come from?
Well, Forsythe, So yeah, I saw that recently as well, and I hadn't watched them. So a few days ago, I went back and I watched a couple of Florida games. To me, just watching them with my not professional eye, there seems to be a big disconnect. And I don't know what it is or where it comes from, but there seems to be a disconnect. If the Bengals were to draft Forsythe, I wouldn't like it. I have a select few offensive lineman who I like. He is not one of them. Now, I could be wrong. I hope all these guys, if they get drafted by the Bengals, I hope they all go to the Hall of Fame. But I don't see it happening.
And I think the question is, are you looking for the Bengals to draft? So based on your grades, is it that they draft an offensive lineman that's going to start day one, or somebody that can, learn for a year or two?
Oh, no, we can't. No, we can't.
Okay.
We can't do that.
And here's the other variable. Mercifully, Jim Turner is no longer with the Cincinnati Bengals.
True.
Frank Pollock is now back with the Cincinnati Bengals, and you've got to think that based on his experience where we've seen him with the Bengals, that he could take some of these guys, and you've got to believe that he's going to get the most potential out of some of these offensive linemen, no matter where their draft grade is. If they get somebody in the fifth, hopefully they can live up to some sort of potential and actually be a gem.
Do it with the Adeniji. I love the Adeniji. You know that. I loved the Adeniji last year.
Yeah.
I loved him last year. And the one thing that Turner said last year, and I thought he was correct, he said Adeniji was the best player at the Senior Bowl last year. And I was like, you know what? He actually said something I agree with. He was right. I love the Adeniji. I think he's a pure tackle. I don't think he should be anywhere near guard. Get the best out of him. Get the best out of Fred Johnson. Like last year, we all loved Fred Johnson, right? He was like the savior, Fred Johnson. Yeah. And now all of a sudden, we've just kind of forgotten about him. So if we're looking at it from a Pollock kind of point of view, get the best out of the players that we have that I love. Like I love Adeniji more than I love Eichenberg. Now, again, I'm saying something that's going to get, I'm going to get yelled at for that. I know, but I'm used to it now. So yeah, I would just rather, if we're going to go like the Eichenberg route or somebody like that in the second round, I would just say, hey, let's see what Adeniji can do under Pollock.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Like that.
Yeah. Whereas with somebody like Ben Cleveland, yeah, we start. If Quentin Spain's not the answer at right guard, if he just took the minimum to come to prove it, draft somebody who you think who can take the spot away from Quentin Spain. And that would, for me, that would be like Ben Cleveland. Or it would be like Rashawn Slater, who can apparently play all 5 spots on the line, something like that. Somebody yelled at me on Twitter about Eichenberg, and he was like, "Oh my God, how can this guy say Eichenberg isn't any good when he never gave up a sack?" I'm like, he damn sure tried to give up sacks. Like he tried his best to give up sacks, but nobody talks about that. Nobody talks about like the pressures or him just getting caught slipping. Speaking of Basham, like one of the worst reps I've seen so far, and looking at all these offensive linemen, was Eichenberg versus Basham. And Basham he wrecked Eichenberg on one play. It didn't result in a sack, but oh my God, he wrecked him. So yeah, I don't, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe we'll draft Eichenberg. He'll be the next best Anthony Munoz or whatever, and I'll look like a fool. But I'm right about this one.
Yeah.
Like there's a few players who, Alex Leatherwood. Mm-hmm. What do you think?
Yeah. You have to like his, especially the conference he plays in. You got to like the fact he plays at Alabama. Did he set a record? He was up there in terms of snaps, how many snaps he took at the University of Alabama. Clearly has leadership, and that's big for me. I like leadership. I like guys that can rally the troops.
Like captains too.
Yeah. I mean, I think he's appealing. I don't know if he's all right. Alex Leatherwood or Dylan Radins.
Oh, Jesus. What position are we talking about?
Well, I think you'd have to put Radins at guard.
All right, so if we're talking about right guard, then Alex Leatherwood.
Okay, all right.
If we're talking about tackle, I think I take the unknown of Radins over the known of Alex Leatherwood.
Yeah.
Because for me, Alex Leatherwood followed the Cedric Ogbuehi to a T, which is he was all worldly right guard. So they kicked him out to right tackle, and he was meh. And then they moved him to left tackle, and he was meh. Mm-hmm. And so if you would have told me Cedric Ogbuehi would have played right guard, I would have been like, and they never even thought about it.
Yeah.
It was like, this is the most easy, put him at right guard. But he didn't want to play right guard. He thought he was a left tackle. Yeah. And I'm just wondering if that's the same thing with Leatherwood. If he sees himself as a tackle, would be willing to play right guard? Because it's fun for us to say, hey, Alex Leatherwood, go play right guard. Alex Leatherwood might be looking at us like, nah, bro, I'm a tackle.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
Leatherwood's one of those guys I just don't know. I don't know. I don't have a clear conviction on him one way or the other.
I would not draft him as a left tackle. I maybe could see him trying to play a right tackle, but I could definitely see him playing the right guard. But if he's going to push back against that, like Penei Sewell kind of pushed back against that a little bit.
Yeah.
If Leatherwood would do that, I'd be like, eh. And I keep going back to Ben Cleveland. I don't think I love him so much that the Bengals aren't going to draft him. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I think you just jinxed him. Yep.
Yeah. Hey, but hey, I got four of my favorite players last year.
Yeah, there you
So
go.
I'm not gonna complain.
Send out some good vibes and good things will happen.
Yeah.
Hey, what about this though? What if the Bengals get Penei Sewell and receiver out of LSU?
Marshall.
Terrace Marshall. What if he falls? There's some medical concerns, but what if he falls there to the Bengals at 38?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind. I would prefer De'Ami Brown personally, but I wouldn't mind Terrace Marshall. Like that would be good. Marshall. That would be good. If we went offensive tackle, do you know who my tackle one is?
Who's your tackle one?
Later. Huh? Darisaw.
Darisaw. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Darisaw is my tackle one.
Okay.
But again, one of those things that I think I'm the only person who thinks that. But if we were to go offensive line, wide receiver, I would love it. I think that's got to be the formula, right?
Yeah.
Receiver, offensive line. If we take Chase, because I guess we're going to take Chase. I guess it's the worst kept secret. At this point, I just want somebody to trade up and take Chase, just to see, or maybe Atlanta take Chase, just to see what the Bengals would do. Because I'm more curious about that now. Like we seem to be on Chase, and he will be the pick, and I don't think there's much doubt to that now. But out of curiosity, because I think the Bengals kind of like Slater more than they like Penei Sewell.
I've read that, yeah.
Yeah, and I just think, again, it goes back to what I wrote, versatility versus capability. I think they prefer versatility, the Cincinnati Bengals. They would rather have an okay lineman at tackle who can play guard than just a straight up awesome left tackle. That's what it seems like to me. Now, maybe I'm not being fair there, but it's just, I don't know.
Well, and it's kind of hard to blame them because they already have the bookends at tackle. So if you have a guy that has positional versatility, you know.
Do they have the bookends at tackle?
On paper, they have bookends at tackle.
Are we sure about
Williams
that?
is better at guard, huh?
Who?
Jonah Williams? Is he your guard? Is that who you're talking about?
I ain't say nothing. I don't know who you're talking to. I didn't say anything out loud in public. I did tweet that last year, but nobody responded. But I've got like 60 followers. Nobody hears my tweets anyway. But I publicly questioned, like, are we sure? Are we sure about this? And like you hear about that, like during the draft process, like we have okay tackles. Like when you listen to the experts, we have okay tackles. Like if people really thought Jonah Williams outside of Cincinnati, if people really thought Jonah Williams was all that, they wouldn't be clamoring for us to draft Penei Sewell.
Are you willing to give Williams a pass due to his injury? I mean, last year was his full season healthy. Maybe comes back stronger this year. You know, there's a lot of things that come into play.
I'm the type that believes in what we saw. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't see a dominant left tackle last year. I didn't see someone who I would just say, "Hey, it's your job. You're our left tackle. Let's go." He played well. He played well at stretches, but we're kind of like we've got so many, I guess, holes along the offensive line that we're like, okay, well, we can ignore that, and I think we could possibly maybe upgrade. Like I would hate for Penei Sewell to get drafted by the Bengals, and then we tell him, hey, we're gonna play you a right guard.
Yeah.
Like I would hate that for him. I would hate that for us, because he would just be sitting over there every day like, I'm probably better than this dude. I would definitely be thinking that. So yeah, I actually think that comes into play in the whole Sewell versus Chase thing. I think I think the fact that he's kind of pushed back a little bit on wanting to play right guard and he sees himself as a tackle, I think maybe that kind of made the decision easier for the Bengals as well. Like, you know what? Yeah. And like,
well, I'll put you on the spot then. So you mentioned Alex Leatherwood. Let's say the Bengals draft Alex Leatherwood. Who's the better former Alabama left tackle?
I'm gonna go with Jonah Williams.
Okay.
I would rather see Jonah, and that's pretty much based on the fact that I see Alex. You tell me Alex Leatherwood is going to play right guard, I might say trade up for him at the end of the first round.
Yeah, I don't see that. Yeah.
Yeah, but if they hand in the card for Alex Leatherwood, and whoever's presenting the pick says tackle, now with the 38th overall pick, the Cincinnati Bengals select tackle. I wouldn't like that.
Yeah.
But if they were to say guard, I'd be like, yes, all right, let's go.
Right.
Now we're doing something. But I will also have to hear this interview, like, you've been drafted by the Bengals. What do you think? Are you willing to play guard? What do you think about playing guard? And then I will have to see what he says.
Yeah.
And how he reacts. Because Penei Sewell didn't act. He didn't react. Yeah, it was. He said the right things, but you could tell. You knew that. Yeah.
Yeah.
He wasn't on that. What would you think?
Well, I mean, based on that narrative, I think that if the Bengals wanted to select a true guard, then yeah, you're right. Maybe Sewell's not the pick there. If they wanted a true tackle, then you're probably right. Rashawn Slater might be the guy. If they're just going for a straight guard, then yeah, trade back and get Vera Tucker, or maybe even I don't know. Tevin Jenkins is probably more of a tackle, maybe. But yeah, I mean, based on that, if they just wanted a true guard, then yeah, trade back and let's get Tucker and go from there.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, and that's what I wrote too. If we could trade back, pick up some extra picks in the third round, we could get Kenneth Gainwell, my favorite running back.
Yeah.
We could get my favorite corner out of Stanford. We could do a lot more things, but I'm pretty sure we're gonna get Chase at 5, and I'm happy with that. I would be happy with. I'm not gonna be mad.
There's no wrong pick. There's no wrong pick there, or at least in my opinion.
Yeah. I don't think there's a wrong pick either. Like if you just in a vacuum, you say Penei Sewell, Chase, I would be happy with either one of those picks.
Yeah.
But I would be more happy. Yeah, I guess between those two, I'm Team Chase, because I would be more happy with Chase than I would be if you were to tell me we're gonna put Penei Sewell at right guard.
I think based on this conversation, I think I have to pack up my tent. I have to make the journey back to Team Chase.
Oh no! Don't do that.
You've convinced me. You've changed my mind.
Because you love those offensive linemen more than I do. So
I do. Yeah.
So if you're right and we can hit on whoever that pick is, then yeah, that would be. Then you're Team Chase anyway.
Yeah.
Because if you believe in those guys in the second and third rounds, then yeah, it makes sense to go Team Chase.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But I think, yeah, like I said, you believe more in those guys than I do. But yeah, we shall see.
That's what makes it fun. Yep.
Yeah, this time of year is fun.
It is fun. Oh, I'm a student. I cannot wait. I'm like a kid on December 22nd.
Yeah.
I can't wait. Oh, by the way, another guy I watched some tape on, Cade Johnson. Have you seen him?
The receiver?
Yeah.
Yeah. San Jose State.
I like him.
Yeah, I like him too. There's a lot of receivers. Adams, of course, Adams, love him. I love that dude. I'm just not sure how fast he is and how much separation he can get.
Okay, so you're talking about?
Jonathan Adams.
Okay.
Jonathan Adams Jr. Arkansas State.
Yeah. Okay.
He's just the only thing that worries me about him is can he separate? Will he be able to separate in the NFL? Yeah. But when you watch him, he doesn't need very much separation. Like he would be perfect with Joe Burrow. But go ahead.
Yeah, for sure. And my thing with that is somebody like that or somebody like Cade Johnson, they come in and they're an immediate replacement for Alex Erickson. They could take kick returns, but they're better, you know. So
that's not Jonathan Adams though.
Okay, so maybe I'm thinking. Well, Cade Johnson could do that though. He could step into that role.
I would think more of Marquez Stevenson.
Yeah.
Or who are the late guys?
KJ KJ Stefferson was one of them. He's in a I don't think he's in an FBS school, but and the name Jalen Darden keeps coming up. I don't understand that because he's more of a slot guy. I mean, yeah, he has explosive speed and probably game-changing abilities, but I just don't think he fits what the Bengals are looking to do. Maybe as a second receiver.
He's one of those guys that can return kicks as well.
He can, yeah.
So, and he's like more shifty. I think he would work like one of those like small Tutu Atwell's another guy. I kind of like those type of guys. They I think they will work in the Bengals offense just because we have T. Higgins. Like we have T. Higgins, we have Tyler Boyd, and if we really think like T. Higgins was amazing last year, he was better than what I thought he would be. He did have some drops, which was my main thing when he got drafted. I was like, his drop rate or his catch rate coming out of college, I didn't like it at all.
Yeah.
So he has a couple of drops, but he was a lot better than what I thought he would be.
Yeah.
Now, if he can keep that up and become a wide receiver 1, man, you add one of those Tutu Atwell's, Darden type receivers. Yeah. I can see that working.
I love Tutu Atwell. I love him. My only concern with him is his size. He's just undersized. He's probably 160 soaking wet, something like that, or 170 soaking wet. So, but no doubt he's explosive. He's a field stretcher. He can get separation, but yeah, it's kind of like that Devontae Smith. You know, what those have against Devontae Smith. Yeah, he's explosive and all that, but you know, is he going to hold up in the NFL? So, it's to be seen, I guess.
How much he weighed? Like 150?
Yeah, it was like 155 or 160 pounds or something.
Yeah, he was under 160, which is
wow.
Yeah, I think Tutu Atwell weighs more than him. Yeah, but I think he'll be good. I think no matter what, he'll be good.
Yeah.
Devontae Smith.
Well, the only position we really haven't talked about on record that we've messaged about a little bit is what do we do at running back?
Oh, Kenneth Gainwell.
You mentioned Kenneth Gainwell, but you know, obviously he'll probably go in the third round, and I don't know if that's what the Bengals are targeting in the third round. I don't know.
Yeah, I want them to trade back.
Well, that's true. That could happen.
Dude, a debut, Kenneth Gainwell and Ben Cleveland all in the third round. Man, listen, that's Super Bowl.
Yeah.
That's Super Bowl.
Yeah, I couldn't argue with you there. Yeah.
I like the running back out of Virginia Tech, and
Yep.
I keep that. What's his name?
Khalil Herbert.
Yeah, Herbert. Because he can return kicks as well. He returned punts, which you don't see too many running backs doing. The running back out of Louisville later.
Javian Hawkins. Of course, he's a guy that could be a 7th round guy maybe.
And
free agent possibly.
And then there was one more, and I'm drawing a blank.
You mentioned Chris
Evans.
Chris Evans out of Michigan. Yeah.
Out of Michigan. Yeah, I like him. But you're not going to like him. He's not a captain. He has some issues.
Yeah.
But I think they're like academic issues.
Yeah.
He wasn't a captain. But about the 6th round, Chris Evans, because all those other guys will be gone. So if Chris Evans is still there, we'll love him. If Javian Hawkins is still there, love him. Who are your running backs?
Yeah, so take a look at Puka Williams out of Kansas.
Yeah. See, I haven't watched him yet.
Fun to watch. Yeah. We both mentioned Trey Regis, I think you pronounce his name, out of Louisiana. But Bill, like you said, yeah, he's a guy that'll go late. You might be able to get him in free agency. So I like him. But those are on where I think the Bengals could take a running back. Those are two of the names that kind of jumped out at me.
When I was thinking about running backs, I was more thinking about the replacing Giovanni Bernard.
Yeah.
So Regis would not be. He wouldn't be he's not at the top of that list. So. Yeah, he's more.
You want a guy who's a dual threat, has versatility, can catch the ball in the backfield. Yeah, I get it. So
Kenneth Gainwell.
Yeah.
Whoever.
Yeah, I can't disagree with you. I cannot disagree. I just wish he would. I wish they could find him in later rounds. I just don't see it happening.
Well, they had him in the later round last year, and I keep drawing a blank on his name. The running back, Washington football team drafted him 4th round.
Yeah.
Out of Memphis. And
Yeah, he was on my fantasy team, and he cost me the championship.
he didn't cost you a championship. What's this? I'm completely drawing a blank. I'm gonna come with notes next time.
I'll figure. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, we had a chance at him, and we whiffed. And I'm just like, man. And then when you see what he did last year, I'm just like,
yeah. But I don't know that he fits the Bernard mold. He's not much of a pass catcher. They use him more just as a straight, downfield runner. So.
But he can.
He's explosive. Yeah, there's no question.
He was at Memphis.
Yeah.
He was Kenneth Gainwell before Kenneth Gainwell.
Of course, he didn't get a whole lot of he didn't play a whole lot at Memphis. He only had
and see that's where me and the Bengals split. Is that right there? Because when I talk about these players, I like to talk about the where I see them being, whereas the Bengals they like to look at production and that type of thing. And when I saw him last year, I was like, yeah, the Bengals are going to draft him, but I wish they would.
Right.
And it's the same thing with Kenneth Gainwell. It's the same thing. A running back who doesn't have a lot of carries, who doesn't have a lot of rushing yards.
You just like those Memphis running backs.
I like those two Memphis running backs.
All right, I've got to look it up because this is driving me crazy.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, Antonio Gibson. Yeah.
Antonio Gibson. Yeah.
Yeah.
Antonio Gibson. I love him.
I like him a lot. I really do.
I loved him last year, but like you said, those production numbers aren't there, and that for a few years, like that whole defensive line from Pitt that I love, the Bengals are going to draft that because they want the production and they want it over time.
Yeah.
And, so when I talk about all the players I talk about, they're my favorites. They're not really people who I think the Bengals would target, except for Chase.
Yeah, well, might get your wish on Thursday.
Yeah, I think that was a safe bet, if I can talk.
Good deal. So the question is based on this year's draft, filling needs. Where are the Bengals next year in terms of their head coach? And this is kind of a plug on your article, by the way. So
well, thank you. I appreciate that. And if you read that article, I don't want to give too much away. I don't want to plug it on here either because, I'm not sure of the rules. I think Zac Taylor is back for year 4, pretty much, unless it's just a disaster of a season. I think he would be back. At 6 wins, he's back. If he goes 6-11 now,
isn't it? Yeah.
6-11, I think he's back. And I think because the odds, the over-under, according to Vegas, is 6.5 wins.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I think 6 wins and he's back. 5 wins, I think he's back for 4 years. 3 wins, now, yeah, he's probably gone.
Yeah.
But I don't think the Bengals will be bad enough to get him gone. Like, I hope not. Like, this isn't me wanting the Bengals to be bad. Not at all. I hope they're good. I hope we win the Super Bowl. You know me. You know where I stood when we hired him. I didn't think he should have been hired personally. I wished him well. The first season was a disaster. Second year, a disaster. Rumors that people were revolting in the locker room, stuff like that. I just, yeah, man. I hope I'm wrong. I hope we win the Super Bowl. I hope he's Kyle Shanahan in his third year.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah, that would be great. That would be great. What do you think? Where do you think we're gonna head with Zac Taylor?
Yeah. I mean, so of course you have a coach that was probably, by all accounts, not the best hire, looking at his coaching lineage. I think there are some things you could look at and say, okay, I kind of like this or I kind of like that. If he wins 6 games this year, I think there's going to be a huge contingency of Bengals fans that are going to be clamoring for his head, quite frankly. I think if we see meaningful progress and we see the team heading in a direction that's going to mean, more wins and more wins and more wins as time goes on, then I think you can maybe make a small argument that he should stay. Mike Daniels has just gone on record recently, explaining why he signed that 1-year deal with the Bengals. Come back because he does believe in the coach, and so who knows? I don't know. I'm not in the locker room, but I know what I read, and so we shall see. I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt this third year. I was one of the ones that wanted him gone after this past year. I just thought he was way in over his head. To me, why he, some of the hiring choices that he made, Lou Anarumo still being there. I'm not, I'm willing to be optimistic for this season. Let's see and go from there.
I was never optimistic about him. Never. Like I said, I hope they win the Super Bowl. I just don't see it happening with Zac Taylor as head coach. And you know what I'm going to say. The first time I see a tight end out here blocking a defensive end, like I'm the only person who sees this, like offensive boy genius. Like seriously, like I watched all the games last week. I watched all the games from last year, all the Bengals games, and I was like, oh my God. And it was one point, like I wanted to talk about this. I should have. He saw like the tight ends were struggling blocking defensive ends. So what did he do? He decided to double team the defensive ends with a tight end and John Ross. it's like, oh my God. It's like, if I were John Ross, like, could you, like, first of all, imagine drafting a Kyle Pitts, and the first time you see Kyle Pitts blocking a defensive end, what are you gonna say?
Oh, probably some 4-letter words.
Now, since we're probably gonna draft Jamar Chase, imagine the first time you see Drew Sample and Jamar Chase double team blocking a defensive end. What are you gonna say?
Yeah,
it's coming, and it might not be Jamar Chase, but it's gonna be a wide receiver, and it's coming. And I'm just like, you got to be kidding me! Like our offensive line is so bad that your boy genius idea is to block defensive ends with tight ends, and when that doesn't work with tight ends or wide receivers, and when that doesn't work, just like don't block them at all. It's like it was wow. I was so mad last week because I was going through all the games, and I was like, wow, I just found myself getting mad again. Like, oh my God, like this dude. He had stretches. There were games like those, even games he lost. I think it was like the Cleveland game that they lost. They should have won. Like there were like stretches in the season where the offense looked really good. Mm-hmm. But there were times, man, it was like, oh my God. And the third down calls, like the calls on third down were just atrocious.
Yeah.
Just like mind-boggling. So yeah, I mean, yeah, I hope he gets it together. I hope he was just young. This is his third year, 3 times a charm, and he pulls a Shanahan in 13-4, I guess now 13-4, win the division, make a run to the playoffs. Yeah, you know me. I'm sure I'm gonna get all the hate if we do make the playoffs. If he does turn coach of the year, because I never believed in him, and I probably still would. But yeah, I just hope that we don't break Joe Burrow before he turns into what we all think he's going to turn into.
Yeah, I agree.
You just get so excited. We have the quarterback. Like everybody sees we have the quarterback, and See, I'm about to put you back in Team Sewell now. We have the quarterback. It's so exciting, and at the same time, it's so depressing because I don't believe in Zac Taylor, and I'm not sure the front office. It's exciting, and I want to be optimistic. I'm gonna be positive fan right now.
All right. Well, a couple things.
All right.
Frank Pollock is back. Frank Pollock. And they're going to draft some offensive line. In this 2021 NFL draft.
I need you. I need my buddy Surreal, because he's all positive Twitter Bengals as well. I need y'all to like lift me up. And I hope I don't bring y'all down because sometimes I get down, man.
There's
Sometimes I get
optimism and there's realism. There's probably there's probably a fine line right there in the middle.
Right. And I consider myself a realist, but yeah, I'm more on the pessimistic side. Yeah.
Well, 40 some odd years of Bengal fandom is going to do that to a person.
Damn, I'm old.
I'm right there with you, brother.
No, you're still a baby face and all.
Yeah.
That beard ain't fooling anybody. Baby face. Is that all you got for now?
That's all I've got. Yeah, I'm ready for Thursday. I'm excited. Having a big guys get together on Friday to watch rounds 2 and 3. So yeah, should be good.
Yeah, I'm gonna be on here on Zoom actually with some friends, some of my French friends.
On Thursday or?
Yeah, Thursday and Friday probably.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you gonna watch the draft live or?
Yeah.
Okay.
2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah. Right. I might. Yeah, Keenan has a baseball game. I'm coaching his baseball team. We're supposed to play at like 6:45, which is like right there when the draft starts. So I'll either have to watch it on delay, but there's a chance of rain, so I might be able to watch it live. And if so, maybe I might jump on there with you. Cool.
All right, Bengals fans. Well, we're going to leave it there for today, but we'll be back. Steely will be back again, hopefully. And until next time, be careful, be safe, have a great day, have a good day.
Good day.
Marie! Marie!
What?
Babe, can you go get me some more Cubanisto? I don't have any more Cubanisto, please.
Pardon? Mais ça va pas ou quoi? Mais va le chercher ton cubanisto! Et lui, non? Il est fou, mais je crois pas. Mieux.